three. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Teaching Crypto. It might be Super Bowl Sunday in 48 hours, but Bitcoin is not waiting to make its move and score some points. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell notification. Super chats in the store are available. 47K, Mr. FOMO. We talked about 44 and holding until the weekend. Forget about that. Bitcoin decided, you know what? We're going up. Yeah. So 47K, I know that took you by surprise and me by surprise.
Yeah, this is wild this morning. I wasn't expecting us to go charging into Super Bowl Sunday with this kind of momentum. And so it's kind of kicking my theory that we're going to have some more downward action. It's kind of kicking my theory in the butt here at 47.3. We were all the way up at 47.5 earlier. And so it's looking like the shakeout that I was calling for might be out of the question. However, remember I said after Super Bowl Sunday, if we have a lot of ads and we have a bunch of stuff going on in the Super Bowl, I could see us going down after the Super Bowl if something like that happens. And I still could see that happening. Although from 47, it would be a lot harder to get down to 38.5 or 39. I think that maybe that far of a dip might be out of the question. You never know with Bitcoin, but it seems like over a 20% dip or a 30% dip might be out of the question at this point.
It's hard to see it. You never know what narrative could drop. And I loved the 55K price before halving, and that looks easily in play right now. Remember the halving?
Yeah, remember I was like, I called you crazy. You said we were going to get to 40K by the end of the year. I called you crazy then, and then I called you crazy the other day because we were going to be you said we were going to be at 55 by the halving, but here we are just 8,000 away from it. So maybe I'm the crazy one for being skeptical in the bull run.
Well, we'll see. And don't forget my Solana prediction at 200. We bounced to 105 in a day before Bitcoin even really went crazy. And so that you made me hesitate in my March 23rd. I think that March 23rd Solana prediction, maybe I need to
you want to move it up,
take that back. Yeah. I think this might be too good to be true, possibly, because if we go, here's the thing, if we do go straight up between now and the end of April, you are probably talking about 70K Bitcoin. Probably if we go, if there is no dip, if there is no not talking about a small dip, a few $100 here, $1,000 here, but if there's no 20, 30, 35% correction here, and we are just going to go straight up into the halving, you're probably talking about all-time highs. You're probably talking about 70K Bitcoin. And then there obviously is probably going to be a pullback in the summer, but man, in the fall, that 90K I have as the end of the year price prediction, I think that might be too conservative here. We'll have to see. I do agree with you. The next 48 hours, we say that a lot, but the next 48 hours are going to be key. If we can hold 47 leading into the end of February, wow.
And I think next week is really my important week. I think for me, when I'm looking at it, I'm looking at this huge event in the Super Bowl. There's a lot of excitement building towards that. There may be some people who are thinking that, like we're thinking, that there's going to be a lot of Super Bowl ads for crypto companies, and also crypto stocks are running this morning too as well. And so that's why I think this may be a little bit of an event thing, and then you might see a little bit of a cool off next week after the Super Bowl. But again, what I was calling for back down into the 30s, it just is not looking realistic at this time. Your 55 is actually looking more realistic than my dip down to the 30s. But remember, Bitcoin can do whatever it wants. It is not bound by anything, and it trades 24 hours a day. So just like we were shocked by that 47.5 this morning, and it just jumped up again, we could be shocked equally when we wake up one morning and see it fall down. But I don't want to be that wet blanket this morning while we're at 47.4 saying that, you know, there's a shakeout coming. I could see a shakeout coming, but it's getting less and less likely as we get closer to the halving event and as we get higher and higher, or as the price gets higher and higher for Bitcoin, it just becomes less and less likely.
Yeah, and look at ETH right now. ETH is charging. Remember, we told everybody you want to have exposure to ETH. No, it's not going to do 100x or anything crazy like that. But right now, we got ETH, Mr. FOMO, at 2,500. Man, I think ETH is going to do amazing things over the next 75 days. I really, really do.
Well, it already
So if
did.
you're
I
not,
mean, it was at what, 21
well,
earlier this week. And so I think,
yeah. But here's the thing: as the ETF narrative continues to not be denied, the other day we had people changing their their ETF applications, just like the Bitcoin one did. I'm still skeptical that there will be an ETH ETF, but the narrative is alive, and that's all that really matters, right? And we've got that narrative all the way until the end of May. Okay. And that's what you want to look at here. I think ETH is going to be doing amazing things. I can't see it not getting to 4K before May. I really cannot. With all the positive momentum we have, it's going to ride with Bitcoin. So if you have exposure to ETH, congratulations. If you don't, if we do get that dip that you're talking about post Super Bowl, not financial advice, but ETH would be, for stability's sake, at the top of my radar here, because it's just an easy play, right? You buy the ETH and you just, you hold on and wait for the narrative to play out, right? And if they do finally cancel and say, we're not doing the SEC comes back saying, listen, we're not doing the ETH ETFs, and they say that in May, that's a long time from now. It's February 9th. It's a lot of time to go up, and it's going to ride with the Bitcoin narrative. You're going to see ETH in March. You're going to see ETH and Bitcoin just go berserk. And this is, I think, just our appetizer here, this 47K.
oh,
Right?
yeah.
So you might be right. We might have a lull, but the lull might only take us back to 43, 42, right? Tennessee. Well, guess what, Tennessee? You could have both. And both are going to do
we
it.
told people weeks ago that you need ETH to trade on some of these swaps and dexes and Coinbase wallet. You've got to top up your ETH to buy. And so we've been telling people all along, just for utility's sake, to buy ETH. And then on top of that, we were saying for stability in your portfolio, it's going to outperform Bitcoin. These are all things that we've said before. And so, well,
I would hold both.
on stool. We're just saying top up your ETH so that you can be.
I mean, right now, if you have Bitcoin, Solana, not financial advice, and ETH, and you just sit back and chill, you're doing great, and you'll be doing fine for the next few months. Again, you might still get the dip post Super Bowl, Mr. FOMO, but the dip might be in the low to mid 40s, and then that's a jumping point for March and April. That
right. It becomes a higher launch pad, right? Instead of that 38, we've got a launch pad. We've built strength really at the 42, 43 level. But the higher we get, 47 now, we get above 50. That's a huge psychological level. Each of those launch pads sends us a little bit further into, theoretically into the bull run, and hopefully way higher into Bitcoin's price action. And so, yeah, that's a great point. The higher we get as we go into this bull run, or as we get into the start of this bull run, the better it will be for all of our portfolios in the height of the bull run.
All right. Now, I want to talk about Voyager for a little bit. We're going to do a more in-depth show when we go into more detail, but there is a class action lawsuit against the NBA. If you remember, Voyager had a partnership with the Dallas Mavericks, and so now there's a class action lawsuit. Here's the problem, Mr. FOMO. This is not the Voyager administration currently that is doing a third-party attack on the NBA. No, this is not Paul Hage doing it.
Really?
And so I wouldn't get too excited. Class action lawsuits are, very painful, take a long time. And so my concern here, Mr. FOMO, is this. We haven't heard from Paul in a really, really long time. I mean, we'll see if anything comes from this class action lawsuit. Class action lawsuits don't normally produce a ton once it's distributed to everyone, and it takes a really, really long time. So I wouldn't get too excited. But we still haven't heard about FTX. FTX is promising its customers 100%. We've heard nothing from this guy since he spoke to you via email about a month ago. I think we need to find out once and
I've
for
got
all.
another
Has
email out. I'll send him another one today to see if he gets back to me. But yeah, we need to find out what's going on, because if there are other groups that are going after the NBA, and from what I read of this, the evidence that they have against the NBA and the Dallas Mavericks and Mark Cuban is a pretty damning evidence, especially, the part where Voyager said that your USD or your USDC was FDIC insured. And so this seems like something that our administrators should have been going after way earlier if the evidence was that clear and that clear cut. And so I'm worried that, we're starting to see some of the, what people were calling cronyism when these people were picked. This looks a lot like they were protecting Steve and the other executives, and they were protecting third parties with this, and to the detriment of us, the Voyager holders, because if this was this clear cut and we could have gone after these third parties in this way, we should have been doing this a long time ago.
Well, we'll do another show about this, but the time to do this was months and months ago. We're a year and a half into this thing, and there's still no announcement about whether FTX and Voyager are going to trial, which could take a year, right? And then don't even get me started about 3AC, right? Your kids, Mr. FOMO, might be in college by the time if Paul Hage, the way he is moving, the slow pace, man. I hope, quite frankly, I hope he gets this done before 2030 at this rate. I mean, this is really slow. I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. Well, we're gonna try to get a hold of him. Maybe we put his number in the description of the show.
Well, I'll make sure that I leave I'll leave all the information in my will so that my kids can collect that money if it ever pays out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. But we don't want to end on a downer here, Mr. FOMO. You made a great point that no show is really bringing up. Could the Super Bowl and the ads be a sell the event situation in the crypto world? Watch it carefully Sunday, Monday morning. If we do hold over the next 48 to 72 hours, that means most likely we are going to be able to hold, and 42.43 is going to be the base, right? And that is a very, very strong base. And then guess what happens when ETH and Bitcoin hold and are stable? You're going to see the alts finally move, and we're going to be in real bull market conditions.
And before we go, there's one thing I want you guys to start looking out for. It's a new protocol. It's ERC 404 tokens. I believe it combines two different protocols, but they're trying to let NFTs and tokens work together in the same, like as currency, both of them. But look out for these. Pandora is one of these ERC 404s. It's not an official protocol yet, but it will be. Binance and I think OKX have open support for ERC 404 tokens, but Pandora is up 12,000%. And there are other tokens, other projects that are starting to build on Solana and Arbitrum. And the article wasn't specific about what those projects were, but I'll find out more information for you. But this is a new protocol that will allow you to basically, as far as I can understand, spend your NFTs just as they were currency, and the tokens and the NFTs will work in the same way through this new protocol. And so if I can find some of those names of those other companies that are being built, I'll let you know what they are and where they're being sold at, so that we can get our hands on those before they blow up.
All right. That sounds like big time news. We'll follow up. We'll follow up on Voyager. Keep it here. Hit that like. And most importantly, hit that subscribe and share the show. Help us grow as much as you can. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you soon.